just like a billionaire becoming president after suggesting that Canada join the US, buying Greenland from Denmark. The US President Donald Trump, again, is causing a stir with his plan to rename the Gulf of Mexico. This isn't just a symbolic statement, but it also shows his big political goals in shaping how things are in the region in his own way. We will rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of the United States. It has a beautiful ring. It covers a lot of us territory, the Gulf of the United States. A beautiful and fitting name. Mexico must stop, allowing millions of people to pour into our country. The President-elect, Donald Trump, said this at a press conference in Florida on January 7. Mr. Trump thinks that renaming it would be a symbolic move to show how important the area is to the US historically and strategically. Also, according to him, this would also highlight the role of the US in growing and using the Gulf's resources. This includes shipping, oil production, and natural gas pipelines. Right after Mr. Trump spoke, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said she would support and push this idea by suggesting a bill in Congress. On the social media platform X, Ms. Greene praised the vision of the president-elect, saying that his new term had a great start and promised to act right away to make this renaming idea happen. Mr. Trump's plan immediately caused a lot of debate. Some supporters think that renaming it is a way to show the US's strong influence in the region, while critics see this as a very extreme nationalistic move. It would not only hurt relations with Mexico, but also set a dangerous example for international issues. Since he first ran for the White House in 2016, Mr. Trump has often had tense relations with Mexico on several issues, including border security and putting taxes on imported goods. He said he would build a wall along the US-Mexico border and make Mexico pay for it. In the end, the US built or improved hundreds of kilometers of border wall with Mexico during his first term. The Gulf of Mexico is often called the US's Third Coast because its coastline stretches through 5 southeastern US states, including Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Mexicans use the same Spanish version for the Gulf, Golfo de México. Americans and Mexicans disagree on another important body of water, the river that forms the border between Texas and the states of Coahuila, Nuevo León, and Tamaulipas in Mexico. Americans call it the Rio Grande. Mexicans call it the Bravo. In about half of the Gulf, the US has the right to explore, manage natural resources, and has jurisdiction according to international law, but this doesn't mean they can just change the name on the world map, and it likely wouldn't cause any real change. Internationally, this shows that Mr. Trump's plan to rename the Gulf of Mexico is mostly symbolic, aimed at boosting his personal image. It doesn't stop there. This idea is also part of a series of controversial proposals, but they are very Trump-like, from buying Greenland from Denmark, demanding the Panama Canal back from Panama, making Canada the 51st US state, and even suggesting the famous hockey player Wayne Gretzky as governor, as well as renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Although some ideas seem unbelievable, Mr. Trump constantly mentioning Greenland, Panama, and Canada on many recent occasions shows that these aren't just one-off statements. Notably, during his first presidential term, Mr. Trump also considered buying Greenland. However, Trump's desire to buy this land seems to be based on strategy. Greenland not only has an important location in the Arctic, but it also contains a large amount of rare minerals, including rare earth elements, which are key in the high-tech industry. In a situation where China dominates the global rare earth market, owning Greenland could give the US an advantage. Also, with climate change opening up new sea routes in the Arctic. Greenland has also become an area of strategic value for trade and military purposes. However, Denmark's firm refusal to sell Greenland has stopped this idea from going any further. Even so, Trump often mentioning Greenland in his speeches shows that it's not just talk for him, but he might actually see this as a key strategic opportunity. Most recently, Donald Trump Jr., the eldest son of President-elect Trump, took a trip to Greenland and posted videos from the plane's cockpit, as well as pictures of local people wearing MAGA hats. The slogan, "Make America Great Again," from Trump's campaign, drawing more attention to this issue. Regarding Canada, Trump has criticized this neighboring country for low defense spending and relying too much on protection from the US. He claims that the US is subsidizing Canada by hundreds of billions of dollars each year, while also criticizing the country for not taking on enough responsibility in shared security matters. These statements by Trump often come with controversial remarks, such as his suggestion of hockey legend, the Canadian Wayne Gretzky, as governor of a Canadian province. These criticisms from Trump reflect his long-held view that allies must share the financial burden in international relations, similar to how he often criticizes NATO for unequal defense spending among its members. Trump also applies this argument to us. The US has played a key role in ensuring regional security, while Canada benefits. Without investing enough in defense, Trump's statements toward Canada are also a way for him to build an image of a leader who firmly protects US interests, while putting pressure on allies to achieve concessions that benefit the US. However, this view could also harm the relationship between the US and Canada, which is built on a foundation of partnership, trade, and sustainable security. Trump's statements, whether serious or sarcastic, have caused a strong reaction from the Canadian public, especially from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Foreign Minister Joe Lee, who firmly assert Canada's economic strength and independence in all international relations. The Panama Canal is also a topic that Trump often mentions, especially when he criticizes the US for giving back control of the Panama Canal in 1977. Trump complains that China is now misusing this canal to increase its trade and strategic influence in the Western Hemisphere. This is a sensitive issue with conservative voters who see China as a major threat to the US's position. Trump's statements about regaining control of the canal reflect his focus on reducing China's influence and protecting US interests in the region. These issues raised by Trump recall the US's expansion in the past, or Alaska and Hawaii becoming states in 1959, are examples of how the US expanded its territory over time. The Monroe Doctrine, published in 1823, and President Theodore Roosevelt's policy in overseeing the construction of the Panama Canal are precedents showing the US once considered asserting power in the Western Hemisphere as a strategic responsibility. However, in the modern context, expanding territory or claiming control in a one-sided way would face strong opposition from the international community regarding controversial statements. Mr. Donald Trump is facing strong opposition from the countries he is targeting. In Panama, Foreign Minister Janena Chuani Mencomo has asserted that the country's sovereignty over the Panama Canal is non-negotiable, while emphasizing that the canal exists to serve humanity and global trade, and does not depend on control by any other country. Panama currently has no official contact with Trump's team and affirms it will respond appropriately if this intention is continued after he takes office. In Greenland, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has reaffirmed that Greenland is not for sale, and emphasized that the island belongs to the people of Greenland. A member of parliament representing Greenland, Aya Chemnitz Larsen, said that local people disagree with Trump's intentions. and feel uneasy when the US continuously expresses a desire to buy or control Greenland. They consider this an act of disrespect for their sovereignty. On the Canadian side, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau rejected the idea of merging Canada and the US, emphasizing that the current trade and security partnership between the two countries has brought great benefits to both sides. Foreign Minister Joe Lee also spoke out against it, affirming that Canada is a strong nation and will not back down from any threat, whether economic or political. Although facing strong opposition from the countries involved, Trump has not ruled out the possibility of using economic measures or military force to achieve these goals. He argues that controlling the Panama Canal, buying Greenland, or annexing Canada would serve the strategic interests and national security of the US. These ideas continue to spark international controversy, showing Mr. Trump's bold but challenging leadership style.